Hmm. Ooh, looks like I am live. Oh, yes. Greetings, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the channel. Here's my impromptu beginning. I've been working at this for the last 12 hours, I think. It seems like 12 hours. You know something? And I'm not too far off. I've been working at getting my process down, and I'm still working at it. It's a work in progress. I am on YouTube at the moment. I'm live streaming this, and I did not work out how to simultaneously do this on Facebook, so I'll be uploading this later. However, we're getting started. And what are we doing? We're going to talk a little bit. I'm going to follow up, and I'm also changing my channels. I'm looking right now because I see the YouTube feed, and it's a little bit behind where I am in the moment, so to speak. So there's some time displacement, so to speak. so it's a little distracting. And on top of it, I'm going to be using some of my I'm going to be sharing some screens. So what are we going to do? I came on a couple days ago and talked about consciousness, and we will always be doing that. You know, consciousness is what it is all about. Is in one respect, it is the subject that is in some respects mentioned, but at least from where I sit, without I think a level of comprehension of simply how fundamental consciousness is to everything that we experience. And I say it's not just that it's fundamental. I'm meaning particularly the state of one's consciousness. Some people think of consciousness as, well, it's just consciousness. Okay, everyone is conscious, so to speak. But it's more so the state of one's consciousness. From one person to the next, there are no two people that are in the same state of consciousness. And that's important because if a person was in the same state of consciousness, if there were two people in the identical state of consciousness, they would be actually superimposed upon each other. They would be literally occupying the same space, so to speak. That's not going to happen because everyone has a perspective, and there are differences. There's differentiation on many levels that make the superimposition of one or two beings, so to speak, relative to consciousness and their state of consciousness even possible. You know, ultimately, we would have to have the same state of consciousness. A person would have essentially, two people would have essentially had to have been imbued in, let us say, interacted with the exact same collection of words, the exact same collection of thoughts throughout all of their life. And not only that, they would have had the same actual response. They would have to have felt the exact same way about everything, which would have informed their action. Everything that they heard, every interaction, everything that was told, every thought would have had to be responded to the exact same way for it to even be possible for there to be a superimposition of two people in the same space and the same time. So I'll never want to say never, okay, but it ain't likely, okay? And it's not the point. The point is we are here, we are beings, we are the consciousness is, okay, in terms of our beingness. That's what we are. the consciousness of it all, the conglomeration, the accumulation, the responses, all of the various experiences that we have had up until this time have gone into making what we think we are right now. And the thing about it, as we start learning new aspects, new ideas, new thoughts, etc., it's going to evolve how we see ourselves, and more so, how we choose to be, as Shakespeare is famously known for saying, to be or not to be. Well, one of my purposes and reasons for doing all of this, having come to the observation that I just shared with you, is that we are in a much better position to change things than we think we are. Okay, than we've been led to believe that we are. We are in a better position. However, we need to know a little bit more about ourselves. We need to understand. We need to understand more about our actual nature as spiritual beings, as human beings, and as units of consciousness, so to speak, because all of life is conscious. All of life collectively, individually as well, are units of consciousness. And so there are mechanisms, basically, by which our experiences happen, and there are mechanisms by which our experiences can change. But to say it even more specifically, there are mechanisms by which we can change our experience. Oftentimes we are in a mindset, for example, of I'll call it a passive one, in the sense, as I stated it before, where our experiences can change. People will talk about the law of attraction, for example, or this or that. We talk about universal laws, things like that. And there is a certain assumption of automation associated with it. Who's ever heard about and referred some reference to a matrix, so to speak? There's something considered to be automated by it, something driven by something other than you. We are thinking that we are not a part of. We think of ourselves as created, not as creators. And you know something? No point of debating about all of these things in terms of, you know, who did it, and because everyone's got stories. What is more fundamental to all of that is that our experiences that we create them. It doesn't matter whether someone created us or not, whether we know or whether we care. You know, whether we want to be steadfast in this idea that we are someone else's children and blah, 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 blah. Our experiences that make up our life, make up the interactions, the relationships that we have managed and we have maintained, and the quality thereof throughout the course of our lives are ours and ours alone. You can certainly blame people for certain things. You can blame certain circumstances for things. But ultimately, you made the choice to react the way you did. And before you even reacted, you made the choice to interpret it the way you interpret it. And what I'm basically getting at, and what's become evident to me, is that we have the ability, you and I have the ability to reinterpret things. And when we reinterpret things, we actually have a chance, we do change the effectiveness of certain thoughts and ideas have on us. Essentially, some of the effectiveness goes down. In some respects, they become less of impact, and others, they go up. They become more of an impact. And in so doing, the trajectory of our life, the quality of our life experiences begin to change consciously. And I would also say consciously. Okay? So what I want to do today is I'm going to bring up another screen. I'm working on the fourth platform in 4 sessions, okay? But I'm going to do some things. Yesterday I had I was in some Zoom meetings, and in those Zoom meetings, the people that I was involved with, we are talking about changes, changing our reality, changing our, changing, and I won't say history, but you know what I'm saying. You get an idea of what I'm talking about, and I am also, while I'm doing this, I'm searching for a screen for of a video that I watched earlier, and it's pertinent, to the moment. But here I am. I'm actually doing this. You could say this multitasking, but I'm going to move down, because I'm getting close to one that I found. I here, no, that's not it. That's not it. But it had to do, first of all, with homelessness and the matters associated with homelessness. And I literally found I found a video, a fairly short one, that was talking about it, because in the conversations that we were having, I learned how the word homelessness has now apparently fallen out of favor, and the term that is now in favor, at least among the people that we talked to, apparently was home free. They're supposed to be referring to people who are in that state of, not having, I'm just going to say, an adequate place to call home, as, well, they're home free. Okay. Is that like a lighter way of saying it? Do you feel a little better when you say it? Or do you really get down to the fact that their situation itself hasn't changed? Now, I've seen some videos about this, and I wanted to bring it up because, in fact, later on, in fact, last evening, I'm talking to my my partner in Australia. We talk via Zoom, not Zoom, but Skype, fairly well most of the time, because my partner, we have our vortex generator products that we are making available to people, and to help change the quality of their life. Well, yes, their life, but their water. And those two things are synonymous. However, someone close to him, and actually truly close to me, someone who's very meaningful to me, had actually been evicted yesterday. So my friend was kind of down with that, and my partner was. But shoot, our friend was even downer, because he had been evicted. And hey, I've experienced it. I've been there. I know what it feels like. Okay, not good. Now the issue is, what do you do about it? And more so, how do you be about it? That's the actual thing. And it relates to this whole subject of homelessness, so to speak, or home freeness, or whatever people want to call this thing. But I found an article, and I'm going to flip over to this, and we will see. Boom, there it is. So we're going to run this little video and hear what they say. This is about 5 minutes. Maybe I'll say something. Maybe I won't. But here we go. I'm running that. I'm doing that. As soon as this ad is over, I'll get out there, and then
to the federal government, which reviews it and then publishes an annual report around December, about a year after the count is complete. And so we were able to receive 150, now more than 150 of these reports from continuums of care about what they're seeing in their region. And we found that across the vast majority of them, they saw an increase on past years. It is two caveats. It's important to note that this data is preliminary, of course. It also is imperfect. It's very difficult to count the number of people that are unsheltered, living in cars, couch surfing in the woods, or on property that's difficult to access. That said, it is the best count we have, and it is the underlying data the Fed uses for its own report.
You know, there's a lot of focus often in the news with sort of West Coast cities of San Francisco when we talk about homelessness, which is why I think this reporting is really important, because what we're seeing is that it's not just, you know, a handful of cities, it's across the board. That being said, you still don't have data for New York City or Los Angeles. Once those numbers are thrown in, I mean, what could this look like?
You're right. New York City and Los Angeles will have a significant impact on what the US sees overall. Just for context, in last year's count, more than 1 in 5 of every person counted, of every homeless person counted, came from one of those two regions, New York City or Los Angeles. And by comparison, we got data from about 150 continuums of care, and they constituted 43% combined of people counted last year. So 150 with 43% versus 2 with 22%. So they could have a market impact on what we see nationwide when they finally do release those numbers.
So what did you discover is, from your understanding, the main cause as to why we've seen this sharp rise
Oh my
in
God.
people without homes?
They don't have a clue.
One of the main things that people that work with folks that are homeless or teetering on the edge of becoming homeless said is that they are hearing quite a lot from about the effects of pandemic era protections running out, combined with a very tight housing market. So these are things like the eviction moratorium ending, emergency rental relief going away, extra funding that cities and regions got during the pandemic running out. And they're really seeing that in the populations they're working with, where someone maybe had a voucher and it ran out, and now they're being priced out of the market and maybe they were pretty close before and are now falling into homelessness. That said, there are a number of reasons why someone could become homeless. Some of the other things that really affected counts this year that we heard from folks are that maybe they changed their methodology. They were able to go to new places and conduct counts. For example, San Diego saw a pretty large increase this year compared to past years. And they said that at least part of that was due to the fact that they could go onto state transportation property, like the land under overpasses and so on, to conduct the count, which they hadn't done before. And on the flip side, some regions said they saw more or less people in shelters because they either added shelters during the pandemic and then lost those beds, or just added them and were able to keep them, so they were able to do a more thorough count than in years past. So, in some places, sorry.
No, go ahead. Sorry, I thought you were done.
Some places also were affected by an influx of migrants who were counted in the general shelter population, even though they aren't traditionally what you would think of as part of that population.
All right, we're about done. We are done with this. It is fascinating to me to listen to these assessments of the condition to the point where they're trying to come up with reasons. So people are going out, they're trying to count the people who are, whatever she said, home free, etc. She used some other type of word, but bottom line is they're still in this quandary type state. Well, the simple fact of the matter is that the people are in a state of chronic insufficiency of resources, of value, that they don't have enough where they can simply keep a roof over their head. Now, they are keeping something over their head. Some cases it's a car, some cases it's an RV, it's a this or that. People are still doing something. And it does not mean that they don't even have resources, they don't have funds. But in order to get, especially in a situation where you got one group of people who are spending money like there's no tomorrow, money that they don't have, and increasing certain levels of debt, but they're spending the money on warships, on bombs, on bullets, on fuel, so to speak, to get people some different parts of the world where they can destroy things and kill folks. Okay, that's going on unabated. No problem there. A lot of the people who don't have the roofs over their heads today actually supported and helped to facilitate. They followed various orders that they were instructed to do, and they did a whole bunch of damage here and there. But people don't talk about the folks that sent them to do this stuff, as well as the non-responsiveness to actually fixing things here in this particular society, in this particular here and now. We're sending funds elsewhere to support people who are actually not supporting the economy here. This is the lack of reciprocity in the present system. This is the actual reason why the present system of monetary management is not just broken, it's dead. It's been dying for a long time because why? It has not been serving the people who are actually supporting it. It's been redirected, though that value has been redirected to others who are not. And in addition to that, because of the lack of sufficiency, the lack of value for life, you know, when you're building and spending all kinds of billions and billions or trillions of dollars to destroy life, that's a really, really strong indication of where life itself is not valued. Even when you talk about the people who create it, who are actually creating, the beings who are creating the way, the method, they are putting their efforts, their thoughts, their energies into their infinite energies, their power, and they're converting it into something that can be quantifiable. That's typically called money. But their actions and their activities have not been sufficient to actually create and guarantee for them a sufficient supply. So people are living in insufficient supply. And the folks talked about New York and LA and the data associated with them coming on and what effect that it will have on this entire situation. And so here you go with the other thing, and I don't have a video, and I'm just going to chat. I'm not going to stay on this long. But in the last couple of days, there has been far more, well, hell, there's been flooding in New York. And I've experienced flooding too when the local river came for a visit a couple of years ago. And you know something? It came up just a little bit, but it changed a lot. It caused many things to change in my life. And that's what's happened in New York City and the boroughs of the Bronx and Brooklyn and stuff like that. There was water here, water there, and it was enough to impact the lives of a whole bunch of people. I mean, talk about the cars that no longer work, that have to be replenished. You talk about the domiciles that are no longer habitable. And these folks, I mean, and the water may have come up for only maybe a few hours or for a day or whatever time it took, and then it went back down. But in the meantime, those lives have been changed. So for all of these reasons, I have been talking about this cooperative system, and specifically now, Co-op 20. It is part of a trio of systems that are on a single platform that was developed by David Rosen, a Canadian. He lives in Toronto, a very gregarious guy who was himself without a home at one period of time as part of his life experiences. But he turned his own life around, and he has created something, put his own money into it, so to speak, to really help create a way for anyone to change their way of receiving value, giving value, but also through the laws of the universe, reciprocity. What you put out, what you give to others, you also give to yourself. What you do unto others, you also do unto yourself. It comes back to you, so to speak. And what is intrigued me by this system is that when I actually carried through the thoughts of how this system works, it actually fundamentally tracks. It actually works. It works so well, it is so efficient that it tends to be outside of most people's inclination to believe it's possible. And so I don't even talk anymore. I won't be talking about, how much quote unquote money you would receive in this system. Because if money is all you're looking for, and that's your only litmus test, this will be of this will be outside of your belief structure, so to speak, first of all. And secondly, I'm going to say we as a society, because we have had no other options for quite some time prior to 2008 or 9 when Bitcoin was introduced. And even then, it took years of Bitcoin being attacked, ridiculed, dismissed, marginalized, all unsuccessfully, because it actually did something that was, I won't say valuable, and that basically is just simply protected value of the owner. It was a record because of the blockchain that it was built on, and I'll say this, because of blockchain technology that it is built on. It's the blockchain technology. It's the distributedness of the blockchain itself. And again, my hands are going to have to work at this point in time. I'm just talking. And the point basically is that Bitcoin made an alternative, the idea of an alternative possible. But things didn't stop there. As people start to see what was possible from what Bitcoin was able to do, they started building other and creating other cryptocurrencies. And therefore, it wasn't simply about Bitcoin or nothing. It became infrastructure. It became other use cases for cryptocurrencies that allowed other things to be done, transactions to be done, whereas our present infrastructures is what would I say, is burdened with inefficiencies and with conditionalities, and also with biases. And it's the inefficiencies, it's the conditionalities, and it's the biases that, and it's really of the people who run the systems. Okay, people literally, not millions, not hundreds of millions, but billions of people on this planet, billions of beings on this planet right now are influenced way out of proportion to what is correct and what is even beneficial by the status and the management of something that's referred to as money. And so there's a very, very large influence there that is today inappropriate. And so, and the spirit of people, because as I talked about, people, the vast majority are living in a state of chronic insufficiency. What? Insufficiency of what? Of availability, of amounts, of timeliness of it, etc., of release of it. You, not only that, people are living in a lack mindset. I mean, even to the point you start talking about various crimes that people have, because what? They're living in a consciousness of lack. And some people are mad about it. Some people are determined to get theirs at any price. And while they're in that mindset, anything goes. Okay? They will, you start looking at, they'll lie, they'll cheat, they'll steal. They will attempt to they simply take whatever they perceive as valuable, when in fact, it's an activity that cannot be satisfied. Now, they don't know this. They're so too busy trying to do it. And frankly, as we have come through our society or in our social, I'll call it evolution, we've been taught to do these things. We've been taught to do these things by people who were taught to do these things by people who were taught to do these things. And it has never been correct. We've been passing on behaviors that go back generations, centuries, and millennia. So The cool thing about this cooperative system that David Hawkins, that's another David, but David Rosen introduced, is that it is free of the biases, it is free of the positionalities, it's free of those things. It is run, it is indifferent to how much money you have. You can't buy influence into this system by having funds. The system doesn't require it. The system requires a small amount that's put in, that's converted into cryptos, because cryptos do have value. And so you are putting in an equivalent in dollars, but they're crypto, roughly about 60 some odd dollars, less than $70. And you are simply going to do this. You're going to receive 3 tokens when you put your funds in, and you're going to invite 3 people to do just what you did. The person that invites you, and it could be me, it could be someone that you know that cares about you, that has told you about this particular, whatever I'm saying here. And if they have an invitation link, please take that, please assume it. If what I'm saying is meaningful enough to you to actually do it, put the dollars in, receive the tokens, and then invite 3 people to do the same thing. When you do that, you will have achieved step 1. The second step is simply this. In the people that you invited, you will simply be with them. You'll provide whatever information that you need, or that they need, that they require, so that they can do the same thing, so that they have 3 people as well. So you will have 3 people. You will help those people to also get 3 people. We're all doing the same thing. However, what we are doing on a more subtle basis is we're passing on not only a behavior, we're passing on an attitude. We're passing on a sense of possibility where one had not existed before. I mean, look at these people who are without a domicile at this point in time. It's not that they don't have the ability, but they didn't have the ideas, they didn't have the information or the inclination, for that matter, to seek something else. We're a society that's steeped in being negative first. We jump on negative because that's what we've experienced. That's what we've been most familiar with. And then that is what we begin to believe, so to speak, is appropriate responses to stimuli. And so just like I told my friend, my partner yesterday, about our mutual friend, because he was saying that the guy is really in a very low place, so to speak. Well, excuse me. He was in a low place before the eviction. The eviction is actually perhaps his best, is probably a blessing, but it's an opportunity for him to choose a different place to be. Now, some people could choose to just check out because they're at their least authentic self, and that is part of the problem. In order to succeed at this cooperative activity that is Co-op 20, you're going to need to be your better self. You're going to need to be your best self. You're going to need to lift your spirits. You're going to need to actually expand your points of view. You're going to actually exercise your courage. You're going to do the things that actually make you feel much, much better about yourself. And in so doing, you could say you're going to reward yourself with a whole lot of value, more so than you probably ever thought was possible. That is how this system works, is what it does. Now, I'm going to do one other thing. I'm going to another screen. I'm going to show you my my little back office. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to be doing this every day and say, see my proof, because how much I actually made is my business, first of all, and how much you make is yours. But see, this particular system it works on the heart that you put in. Doesn't work on the dollars. The dollars, everyone puts in the same amount and they have the same options. Everyone does. And when they do those options, everyone receives the same. This is why I'm excited about this, because people can help themselves to lift their own not just spirits, but to totally transform them, their all that is of value. When you raise your spirits, when you start to exercise the things I'm talking about, money is not even the most important thing that comes. Okay, you can see this happening with in Co-op 20, and you'll be able to see it occur, but it's not going to be the most important thing. So here it is, but it's really kind of cool when you see it, when you get that positive reinforcement. You're going to get it in many ways, but you're going to get positive reinforcement, and the quote-unquote value, this negotiable value, is going to be the important part of that, because it's between you and you. You're going to get it. You're going to be able to use it as you wish, because it is yours to use as you wish. And you're the only one who knows you have it, first of all. That's another part of the crypto space. It is protected in that respect. And with all of the different infrastructures that exist today now, and all that more that are coming, people are going to be able, people already are able to make all kinds of purchases with crypto if they have a sufficient supply. So with cooperation, anyone, and all those positive intangibles that I have mentioned, anyone, everyone can actually begin creating their own supply. This little system has been set up to do it, and this little system is just the beginning as well. So let me move over here. Here we go. I'm going to sign in. I'm going to log in. And I am not a robot. Everyone wants to be sure. Everyone wants, yeah, the robots are taking over, but they want to make certain you're not a robot. There's a reason for that. So here's my Co-op 20 dashboard. We talked about it a couple of days ago. And at the time, this said 1 day. You see, it says 27 now. Yesterday, it said 28. But it said 1 day. When you purchase your tokens essentially get you time, activity time in the co-op ecosystem. First of all, you are plugged in to this little this network, this matrix, if you will, of members who have obtained tokens and who have invited people, or they've been invited by people, and so they're in the process of inviting others to join. And so tokens are a critical part, a fundamental part of this. And as you see here, there are 3 dashboards here. We're talking right now, we're on the Co-op 20 dashboard, but there's also a Co-op 28 and a Co-op 280. These are also funding matrices, you might say, but they're different type. They're larger ones. This Co-op 21 is, I call it the baby matrix. You might say, here's the baby bear, here's the mama bear, and the papa bear. The mama bear matrix is Co-op 28, which is a 3x10 matrix. The Co-op 20 is a 3x6 matrix, wherein you are, every member is a giver and a receiver, and every member in the Co-op 20, you are giving to 6 people, the inviter plus 5 others, and no judgment of what they do or not do. They have had the wisdom to actually put themselves in a cooperative position, and actually put themselves in a position to be a better version of themselves, to exercise a better version of themselves, to trust that better version of themselves to actually produce for them, no matter how long it takes. Now, when you looking to just make money, you want it to happen as fast as possible, and you don't care who you get it from. All right? That's part of our problem. And I'm not saying this in judgment of anyone. It's my observation. I'm saying this from the standpoint and from I'm going to say an understanding and understanding that we're all spiritual beings. There is no spiritual and physical as separate things. Every experience is a spiritual one. And part of why I waited, I guess you might say, to decide to say this stuff myself is because that's how I see things. I don't see it. I'm not moved by money or people who have it. I am moved by heart and people who express it. And much of the way we deal with money today that we have habituated does not involve exercising our heart, does not involve compassion, does not involve even responsibility or caring or kindredness, caring about others, treating others the way you want others to treat you. And then I will also say that's called the golden rule. This system, if you're looking at right now, that I'm not really saying much, but you're just seeing, see the screen, this system essentially works under, you could say, the golden rule. You are putting something out. You are treating others the way you want to be treated. And now I'm going to add something else that I really haven't heard anyone else say. And if they have, good done you, great for you. But it's certainly part of my dialogue now and part of my, you could say, advice. And that advice is the other side of the golden rule. That is, you treat yourself the way you want others to treat you. You treat yourself the way you want others to treat you. So here you are, you're putting some funds into this cooperative system. $67, something like that. I will create an invoice like I did before. I go here to tokens. I'm going to here buy tokens, because that's what you would do. You click on that. You're going to come up here. You're going to say 3. Now you can invite more than 3. But the way this system works, I'm going to say, is when you have 3 who are active, and then those 3 are themselves active, meaning they have successfully invited 3 people as well. So here it goes. Here's an invoice that's created. Now again, I'm not going to pay this, but it defaults to USDT as the medium of exchange. So you would need to be adding that amount of funds into the into your wallet. Now I have more than this. We'll go to my wallet shortly, because there's the co-op wallet. This is where you're depositing into. This is also where you will receive from. But I'm going to just say we're going to start, people are not going to have any a balance, so to speak. So if you're crypto savvy, you add funds here. It defaults at ERC20 Tether, that's USDT, which is an Ethereum blockchain. And that's also because your co-op wallet is on the Ethereum blockchain. However, you can fund this with USDC. You can fund this with Ethereum, which is what I tend to do. You can fund with BUSD, with Bitcoin. You can fund with any of these. Any one of them. I don't even know what these are, but you can switch over to that. And when you switch over to it, let us see. Well, I'm not seeing this change. Here you go. Maybe I wouldn't do that. Okay. Let's go here. I know that the system is in pre-launch. And so some of these things are actually being adjusted. So you will see this. However, if I set this to Ethereum, boom, it's going to change it right off. So I put in 0.04209, which comes out to that number. Let me see what else, quite frankly, it's interesting to just see. So I think I know what's, well, here we go. There's Litecoin. Litecoin is $75. Okay. But if you got some Litecoin sitting around, what else are you going to spend it on? Okay. It's XRP. Let's see about that. Look at there. So the fees are different. And, if it's one of the major cryptos, you're likely going to be able to do it. So 142 XRP. I typically use Ethereum, but you see how the system works. And most people, I chose some some obscure cryptos and nothing happened, it doesn't mean that it wouldn't have. But the ones that are actually not obscure, let's see if there's a, I'm just going to jump over here to Monero for a moment. I'm curious, and you know, I can do that. Look at there. It changes right off. It calculates, and it seems to be is that if it's not one of the, you know, more common cryptos, it's going to be a little higher exchange rate. But it is what it is. You got to get the value that is ultimately sent into the system is what's going to actually work to do these things. So this is how it creates the same degree and amount of reply of value accrual for every member, okay, irrespective of what they put in. Maybe those other ones, which are not going to do now at all, maybe they would have actually have calculated too. I know I've done it before where it did. And I also know that they are still in the process of plugging everything into the system, because it actually, the Co-op 20 system launches officially on October 15th. So it's not too, you know, not too far from now, the end of next week from now. However, it's functioning now. And that's the other thing that I will show you. I will finish off real quick, as you're seeing, is just showing my my external wallet, which is in this case MetaMask, and I have a small amount of ETH in here. And if I didn't have ETH in here, I could use the buy button here and purchase. But I also noticed that when I was clicking on buying tokens, the like MoonPay was already there as an option. I use MoonPay. I've used it many times actually to purchase with a debit card. And so they've got MoonPay set up right now. You could use MoonPay and deposit directly into your Co-op wallet. So what I'm going to do here, as the other part of this, is the Co-op wallet itself. Now I had a balance of, I don't know, 70 some odd bucks or something like that a couple of days ago. And then, and it said up here, there was 1 day, because this cycles every 28 days. So now I had 1 day left, and then at the next day, it was going to cost me $20 in value to stay active. And I had 70 some odd dollars in my wallet. And so it would automatically take it out. Now I looked in there yesterday and it showed 1 day, so that $20 came out, and yet there was actually even more money in there, more value in there, I should say. So we're going to look at it right now. Another day has passed, and this will cycle down to 1 day and then $20. You know, passes out. That's what you will do. In the meantime, in those 28 days, your task, if you will, is to invite 3 people to do what you did. When you do that, you'll have more funds in. You'll have at least $20 first of all, so you stay active just on that alone. But then as they are making their invitations and people are joining as well, your balance is going up because you're receiving. You remember, 6 people are receiving. When every time someone deposits, 6 people are receiving, the inviter and 5 others. So when the people that I invited, it's when the people that you invited, first of all, are now inviting their 3, you will receive, as well I, if you join on my invitation, as well as 4 more people who are active in the system. So let's look at the transactions and what happened. Here we are at $84, $85. You know something, this thing is moving it's moving right off. So I've got $85 now. So I had 70 something, I got 85 in there now. And so I've gotten more than I had before, even though I paid the $20. The $20 did come out. There it is right there, the debit, $20. Okay. So next day, 18 came in. Okay. These are going to be happening all the time. And as more people join, as more people see this and hear it, the amounts are going to be coming in with much greater frequency, to the extent that your balance can change, by the hour, essentially. So this is really how this system works. When you purchase, now if I wanted to purchase some tokens, I could purchase, I could purchase 3 tokens, for example. That would be $60 right from my balance, and I'd still have enough for next month. But I actually have some tokens already. I have some extra ones. If I go over to, back to my, well, I don't want that at this point, my co-op 20 tokens, and I go to my tokens, and then, so we'll see that I have tokens. These are all of my tokens, but if I look to the unused ones, these are tokens I have that are available to share or to assign to others, to members, for example, who have joined on my invitation, for example. They have to purchase their 3, but I have 3, I have more than 3 apparently at this point in time that I can assign to them. And basically all I would do is come down to this next, here, here we go. I have a feral mouse. Any rate, come here and I would place their sponsor ID in here, and the system would confirm with their name, and then I'd put on here the number of tokens that I want to assign to them, and then I click assign, and boom, it's on its way. In the same way with the co-op wallet, you can literally, when you have value that is accruing within it, let's say the first and foremost and fundamental thing, here we go, back here. Just so you know, you can add funds to the wallet. You can withdraw funds. Whatever funds that come up, like that $85 that you saw there, I could take it out if I so chose. The wallet itself is Ethereum based. If I go here, you will see, here it is right there. It shows that this is an Ethereum digital wallet. So it's a blockchain-based wallet. It is all encrypted. It is all, that's an important thing. And it's unique because regular encrypted wallets, just like my MetaMask and stuff like that, you put funds in it. You use it to exchange. You can connect it to your crypto exchange account, to buy and sell various cryptos, for example, or to exchange with others, or to send value, crypto value between people. However, all of those methods are old school methods in the sense of exchanging cryptos, for example, buying and selling. You're never holding value. You are simply trying to find a deal here and there, and you have to keep your funds at greater risk when you do so, because when you have your funds, your value, your cryptos on an exchange account, the exchange holds the keys. They call them they call them keys. These are this is an address, but this is also representative. Every one of your cryptos that you own or that are yours for use are also, they have a number that is similar to this, and it's an encrypted number, but it's referred to as a key. Now, if you want to exchange and deal in the process of trading, so to speak, it means that you put whatever amounts that you put into it. If you put $1,000 worth of something into an account, well, your keys are on that account and that platform. And if that platform has some integrity to it, it's all good. Okay, then you're just dealing with the buying and selling, so to speak, and the profiting or losing from the exchanges, because that is a way that people are making what's called, they're trying to add to their value that they have. But there's also the risk when they do so, because their keys are in the possession of the exchange. Now, if the exchange has some integrity to it, super. But on the other hand, if the exchange simply is no longer popular, so to speak, and the amounts of funds that are put into it, they call it market cap. And so people talk about, well, what's the market cap of this, and that? And they're acting like that's a big deal. But in order to have a market cap, the tokens, the keys for the owners must be in the possession of the platform. And so it makes the platform look good, because the platform essentially wants to have a big market cap, because that attracts even more. People are impressed by those big numbers. And so, oh, that must be valuable, that must be viable, because a lot of folks have dropped their funds into it. And I need not tell you about the various things that have happened over the past several years, certainly in the past year, with FTX and a number of different banks, so to speak, which were thought to be, the next great wave and stuff like that. And all of a sudden they're in receivership. But a whole bunch of people's value were exchanged. They're no longer in the possession of the people who sent them. And so people get upset over that. I totally understand that. This cooperative system is not like that. Well, it is to some extent. It does hold the keys. You put your little amounts in, whatever the amounts in, it holds the keys. However, when you do these things, when you do these activities, you are literally creating a different way, a new way. You're creating a torrent and a flow of funds, of value that comes back to you. This is what you're doing. And when it comes back, while it is in your co-op wallet, the keys are there within the co-op system, but they're not, first of all, they're not available to anyone but you. And on the other hand, they are only available to you. You are able to take them out with the only real criteria or requirement is that you use an authenticator to do so. So there's a double layer of protection, so to speak, for removing, but you can direct it wherever you want. And because it is a flow, you're receiving every 28 days. Enough people showing up. I mentioned that 3x6 matrix. When it fills out, there's 1,092 people that are connected to your wallet from your giving out. You've given out, I acknowledge the divinity within you to 6 people. Well, it sets up a situation based on what you did, where acknowledging the divinity within themselves, for example, and sticking with this so that they can also receive in the same manner as you do, in the same amounts, for example. This is the power of cooperation. This is not doable in any other way. And someone, something, if it didn't already exist, I'd be saying, gosh, I wish something like this existed. But it does. It is available right now. So the issue here is simply people imagining the possibilities of how their life can change. That's the passive voice. How they can change their life. There's the active voice. You got the active and the passive happening here. And I just simply haven't heard anyone explain it in this way. And this is the way that not only makes sense to me, this is the way that is meaningful, because it is not about the quote-unquote money. It is the consciousness. The consciousness is what leads it all. And everything that I had heard, not simply from co-op, I'm talking about the way we've done money for 100 generations, for millennia, have done it the same way. Someone has gamed the system a long time ago, and we've not had really an opportunity to see it any different way. I have to thank my grandmother for smacking me one day when I made some money. I made 25 cents that I did something for someone at church one Sunday, and when I would have rather been out playing. But this lady was so grateful, she gave me a quarter. And my grandmother's, once she saw that, nope, you take that back, you give it back to her. Now, was it wrong to accept this? No, it wasn't. But is it wise to accept the mindset? No, it's not. And yet we have been living in, working from that mindset for a long time. Humanity has. We have powers that we don't know we have. We're using powers to get us what we got. And in order to change what we've got, we have to change our consciousness. In that respect, that's where the map of Onesciousness actually is a very helpful tool for people to actually see life, their life, in a different way. I think I've said enough for now. I think I'm going to, I know I'm going to step off. I'm going to thank you. I'm still continuing to work this platform and also this the software. I'm now using OBS software, and I worked at this for some months a couple of years ago and really wasn't getting it. I wasn't understanding OBS, but it appears that I did learn something, but I'm still learning more. If you are interested in Co-op 20, in joining me in this endeavor, because I consider it an experiment. I consider it, frankly, as a grand experiment. You got all the dross actually cut away, so to speak, moved out, and the only thing, the system will actually work from each of us being our best. I invite you, first of all, there's a QR code right there on that shoulder right there. You can scan that and it will take you to my page if you're looking at this with your phone or with a tablet. I don't know what you would do with on your computer, but it is there. And check it out. You can contact me and below, so to speak. You can also look me up on Facebook. You can find me there. You can find me on Gab. I'm there too. I'm on Truth Social. Reach out if you have questions. I have not done this yet, but I will. I'm going to create a group someplace. I will welcome your suggestions, where essentially understanding of people who actually see this, because frankly, you're not going to be asking. I'll put it this way. If you were like me, when I used to hear that the pastor say something about, okay, you do this. Now, he was talking about, putting some money into the putting some money into the passing the plate, for the church, and then using that as the basis by which God will pour you out blessings that you won't have room to receive. Well, I'll tell you, as a kid, I got that. I got it real clear about, okay, when we got blessings we won't have room to receive, I'll know what they are. And so, I'm deciding, I have decided, you can find videos that talk about what the amounts actually are. And I don't know what just happened, but I got some announcement. But the bottom line is this: if knowing that blessings will be poured out more than you can know how to receive, or you got room to receive, and this system is requiring the best of you. It is not, you can't not care about others. You can't be okay with people losing for your winning. When you're not in that mindset, this is the point. So if this is of interest to you, you know, reach out to me. And this should be, well, it certainly is enough for me once I see how this is different from everything else. At any rate, with that, I'm going to check out. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for watching and your support. Thank you for joining, too, when you do. And until next time, peace, be well, be prosperous. And I'll be back here soon, probably tomorrow. And but whenever, I love you all. You take care. Bye-bye.